Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Savvy Cast. This is Jamie, and I'm thrilled that you're here today, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. September is Sauna Health Awareness Month, so I thought this would be the perfect time for me to invite a repeat guest, but one who knows more about saunas and infrared light therapy than anyone I know, Connie Zach. Connie is the co founder of Sunlighten, the global leader in infrared sauna and light therapy. She is a passionate advocate for holistic health, and Connie integrates nutrition, exercise, mindfulness, and infrared therapy into her life. So she is going to answer many questions that my followers submitted on Instagram. She's going to share the latest technology in the sauna space, and I could not be more thrilled to have her as a guest today. So join me in welcoming Connie Zach to the SavvyCast. Connie, thank you so much for coming back to be on the SavvyCast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, Connie, I have to tell you, it marks a year since I've had my sauna. And if I have questions on many topics, but I have no more questions from my followers than questions about the sauna. People are intrigued. Everyone wants one. And I'm actually going to read some questions that came through last night. I put a question box. So
Oh, fantastic.
I
I
know
love it.
you are on a busy, busy schedule. So we're just going to dive right in with those
Perfect.
questions.
Rapid fire.
Yes. Okay. At Lisa Carter 2012, she wants to know what the science around saunas is. And I want you to speak specifically to sunlighting because there are every sauna is not like a sunlighting. And I found that out very quickly into my research. So give us a bit of the science.
Yeah, so I will start. There is so much science. So, I mean, we could be
Yeah.
here all day with that. I will touch on just a couple of pieces. So, one is with far infrared. So, what makes infrared so special? And then I'll tell you what makes sunlight and infrared so special. But what makes infrared so special is that it is a combination of both heat and light energy. And there's no other way that you can get both heat and light energy. Um, unless it's infrared. And you get 4 different dimensions. So it is a multi-dimensional energy medicine longevity hack. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. To answer the science question specifically, for example, on inflammation, the far infrared wavelength specifically activates a gene in the body that controls inflammation. So that's
Mm.
really important because when the far infrared energy is received and absorbed into the cells, that gene is activated. It goes to work to protect us, right? And keep the inflammation down. So that's one scientific piece on far infrared. As far as on cardiovascular benefits, there is an abundance of science showing how much far infrared specifically helps make the heart healthier through increasing oxygen flow, increasing circulation, increasing movement in the body, strengthening the endothelial linings, and making the heart so much healthier. So, infrared in general is an exercise mimetic. And what that means is it mimics exercise, but it's passive. It is such a great way to get the body moving and get the blood flowing and the circulation going and the oxygen all throughout the tissues. That helps with mental clarity. There's science on mental clarity. There's science
Mhm.
on sleep, weight loss, skin health,
Mhm.
cellulite. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So I'm at some point we can always do a deep dive. I could come back
Right.
and we could do a deep dive into a particular topic, depression,
Mhm.
waist circumference, weight loss, whatever, anti-aging, longevity, whatever topic you want. For example, infrared impacts 5 hallmarks of aging. So what I mean by that is there's science behind what makes us age, what accelerates the aging process, and how can we turn back that biological clock and reverse our biological aging while our chronological aging, there's nothing we can do about our upcoming
Mhm.
birthdays. We need to celebrate those, but we can do things to reverse our biological clock, and infrared is one of those tools that can help us do that. It specifically impacts 5 hallmarks, which is a lot. It's 50% of the hallmarks of aging in one tool.
So, in a nutshell, infrared sauna is a totally different animal from a sauna that we use to
Correct.
put water on the lava rocks. So, basically, what would you say the ultimate difference is in those two? One, of course, goes inside and gets to a cellular level. How would you? What other ways would you say they're different?
Is in the experience. So infrared bypasses the air and it works directly with your body and your cells. Traditional heat, it's 100% measured by temperature
Mhm,
and it heats the air and then you get hot because the air is hot. That's how
mhm,
you experience that heat.
mhm,
Infrared, the energy is transferred into your cells and it is absorbed deeply into the body and the tissues. And it works with your cells and your water molecules to start vibrating and moving everything inside. So it essentially supercharges your cells and makes more ATP and helps boost the effectiveness of your mitochondria. So it's working at such a deeper level. It's a,
mhm.
it really is a cellular level, but then also the experience just for a layperson that's not into the science. When you walk in, you're not like shocked by that
No.
level of heat. Like you can
Mhm,
breathe really easily, and you can also get in right away if you want. And,
mhm.
and the energy starts transferring into your body. So it's a completely different experience, as well as then if you layer on the light energy that you get from near infrared and red light, I mean, that's completely that traditional heat does not have those two wavelengths. And those
Mhm.
two wavelengths, also known as photobiomodulation, have thousands of studies on the impact that they have on our bodies in a very positive impact on our cells.
Well, I'm glad you addressed the that you could get in before it reaches the temp that you've set it to, because my husband will go do his workout and then he'll call me, "Babe, start the sauna." And if it's not exactly at what he wanted it, he's like, "Oh, I've got how many more minutes?" I'm like, "Zane, it'll work if you step in right after you start it." So that I think is good for people to know, because if it's on, it's working.
It's working. Yeah, as
But
soon as you turn it on, it's working. It's a personal preference. If somebody like a Zane wants that feeling,
Mhm,
a lot of people enjoy that really feeling of hotter air,
mhm.
then that's a personal preference. But it's not working more effectively with hotter air. There's no correlation between the
The
air
temp.
temperature, right.
Okay, well, at Jackie Kelly 315 said, "How hot does it get?" I mean, I know that you said it's still working, but what's the hottest or the highest temp that it can reach?
Well, it depends on our collections. We have 4 different collections, and we have a model called the Amplify that the temperature gets a little hotter. That's why it's called Amplify. It is the way it's built. It amplifies the heat for that person that wants infrared, but also likes that hotter experience. So, I mean, that gets up, north of, 150, 160, which is pretty warm when it comes to infrared because with traditional, you're again, it's the air, and so you're getting hot because the air is hot. With infrared, when it's heating up your core and you're increasing your core temperature, it's just it's really intense to have it to get much warmer.
Mhm,
And so and temperature is not a measure of success when it comes to infrared saunas.
mhm,
It's just
mhm.
a measure of how hot the air is.
I will tell you, just I know viewers and listeners will appreciate this like I did. I was on the phone this morning with one of my best friends. She's my dermatologist, and I've had an issue arise that she said this is an inflammatory issue, and she said, "I'm going to prescribe some things." She says, "But I know you got a sauna. You need to be using your red light."
Aw.
'Cause that can definitely help.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
and then with my osteoarthritis, and I had several people ask, my biggest takeaway from my sauna is I was in almost debilitating osteoarthritis pain. That's why I started searching for a sauna. And Connie, even though you can see that I've got the joint issues, the pain is gone. It might rear its head in the winter if I'm not consistently, doing my sauna. But can you quickly speak to you have the new red light panel, which I am so excited about. I had several people ask because they've heard me mention that I now have the red light panel that Sunlighten has just come out with. And they said, I want both. How do I decide if I can't buy both? Can you speak to
Mm. Mhm.
how you might discern?
Yep. If you can't buy both, I if you could only get one far infra or one infrared wavelength, I would get far infrared because it's the foundation of the infrared spectrum. You have the most amount of benefits, and it's so good for boosting your immune system and helping with detoxification and helping with
Mm,
inflammation. So many of those core elements
mhm,
that really impact other conditions and other instances. I mean, so many things are caused by inflammation and or by caused by toxic buildup.
mhm,
And so if you do far infrared, you're gonna get rid of a lot of that. So that's where I would start. I
mhm,
mean, I love red light and I love my near infrared. I mean, I love it and there's a ton of benefits. That penetrates the skin directly, so it's a different mode of action. So it's helping by penetrating the skin, which is great. But far infrared, when it's absorbed into your cells, you actually purify the skin from the inside out. So
mhm,
there's this different level. Just a really deep foundational.
mhm,
It's like building a home and you just want to build the strongest foundation. That's
mhm,
what farm Fred is. And red and near, they're like good wish list items, but
mhm.
they're not the foundation.
But Connie, my impulse has red light.
Yes.
So, honestly, if I didn't have the new panel that I have, I would that's what I would do. I would usually do pain relief in the first 10 minutes the red light panels were on. I would just position myself in front of them. I put my fingers in front. So it's
Yes.
very, so it's really all inclusive. You're
It
getting
is all
so I
correct.
would be like you. I will tell anyone listening, I've told all my friends, I don't know how I lived without my sauna. I would never give my sauna up. It is the best thing I've ever done. I mean, this year, as far as change to my holistic health. So I echo what you're saying. I would definitely get the sauna because you're getting it all. But
Right.
yeah.
You're getting right. You're getting so if that's an option, I kind of misunderstood you. I thought you were meaning like if you can't get impulse, if you can't get the red light in impulse, could only get the red light panel, what would you do? Then I would get like the solo, which is just a far infrared, not
Oh,
just so I would but if you were looking for like what is the number one thing that I should be considering and I can't get a red light panel and impulse, I would get
mhm.
impulse because
Yes.
Impulse has it all.
Yeah.
Impulse is I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I love my sauna so much, and
Mhm.
I mean, I am in there, and I position myself all the time in front,
Mhm.
of the different lights.
Mhm.
I also started doing, meditation. I turn it on, and I get in, and then I do some meditation at the beginning, and oh, it's just the most beautiful way to start your day.
It's fabulous. I cannot tell you. Now, I will echo something that I've told followers. They ask about size. We got a three-seater, and I honestly could have done a two because Zane and I had high aspirations of doing that together. We never get in the sauna together.
Right.
Now, I do love the space, but would you recommend if someone wants to make a purchase, but they don't feel like they're going to be in there with another family member? Would you recommend a two?
I would recommend get the largest size that
Mm,
you can fit in your home.
okay.
Here's why, Jamie, because after 20 years of doing this, there is nobody that has ever come back to me and said, like, I wish I would have gone smaller. Everybody comes back to me. I mean, I have had a lot of people over the years that come back and they're like, oh, I kind of wish I had it a little bit larger so I
Sure.
could stretch out and I could lie down and
Yeah.
I could put my legs up. And so my recommend is always depending on everybody's space is different. So I just,
Mhm.
go as big as you can fit and afford, and you will never regret it.
Connie, I have a lot of people ask, well, can I put it in my garage? It's not finished, but it doesn't get rained on. Lots of people ask that.
Yeah.
So, what's your
Yes.
guideline for where you can put it and it be operational and safe from the
Yes.
elements?
You can put it in your garage. That's what, gosh, when we started the company in our basement, that's where our sauna was. And we've had saunas there's no place that we haven't had saunas. The one place that I don't love and I really don't recommend, I try and steer people away is outdoors. It just, that you have to do that's with wood and the
Yeah.
elements and you have to
Yeah.
deal with it just makes it so much more complicated. It's a beautiful, tool. So keep it indoors, but it can be in a garage, it can be in a basement. It's modular, so it can go anywhere. You can just it's just plug and play.
I do want to ask you one more question.
Okay.
In my impulse, I occasionally will lie down.
Yep.
So, of course, when you lie down, you're not in front directly of the panels. Are you still
That's okay.
okay? Explain that you don't, but the light.
Yeah. So I want to help people understand with infrared is it is literally like energy medicine and this energy of light and this energy wavelength, kind of similar to a light bulb at the most simplest of forms, right? Like you turn on a light bulb and it illuminates the entire room. The
Mhm.
same thing, we're turning on light because infrared is light. We're just feeling the far infrared and the mid infrared by heat, but it's light energy. It's light energy that comes from the sun. So all of the spectrum is light energy. We're turning it on. It's illuminating, not literally, obviously, but I mean it is illuminating our bodies and it does not matter where you are inside the sauna, you are receiving that energy. Just like if you turn the light bulb, it doesn't matter, where you are, you're experiencing the energy. So I for red and near, I like that that's literally light. Like
Right.
I like to be a little bit closer. You don't have to be right next to it, but if I'm focusing on a particular condition, or a lot of times I'll do my face before going on a podcast or before going out to an event, or before the evening, whatever. And so I will sit and put my face,
Mhm.
not like right next to the light, but I'll just sit there. I just did some, where I did it like 10 inches away based on science. So, you know, you don't have to be right next to it, but you definitely lying down, I highly recommend, and do not at all be concerned that you're not receiving the energy.
Okay, that has been worth this whole entire podcast. And I got to
Yay!
go. This was so helpful. And Connie, if I put out more questions and we've got new questions, would you come back on?
Yes, I would love to come back on. Will love, and I love answering questions because I am aware. I mean, this is my business, and I'm aware that it's counterintuitive when people think about sauna and they think about heat. It's just counterintuitive than what most people are exposed to because they think about traditional saunas or think about steam saunas, and so it's really different than what they're used to if they've never been exposed or experienced an infrared sauna, and they've also not familiar with all the different wavelengths and the transfer and energy and the frequencies and the
Mm,
quantity. So Jamie, I'm committed and I actually feel it's more even a commitment. It's my personal responsibility
mhm,
to help enlighten people, help them feel comfortable and
mhm.
inspired and more knowledgeable about, everything infrared. So you just let me know when you want me back on, and I would love to come back on. And
I will. I'm going to stay on and finish some questions that were directed toward me and my experience. So
oh,
you
fantastic!
get to your wonderful meeting. Thank you, Connie. Thank Vic and everyone on your end for everything. And I will talk to you very, very soon.
Thank you. I look forward to seeing you next time, Jamie.
Okay, everyone. So I'm so glad that Connie spoke to some of those questions because actually now I need to backtrack on something that I have said a couple of times about the size of the sauna. I did not understand that you could lie down and not be directly placed in front of the panels. All of the light panels are like surrounding the insides of the box of the inside of the sauna. So I thought you had to be positioned directly in front to get the rays or the wavelengths. So just as she said, no, you are getting full benefit whether you're sitting up directly in front of the panel or lying down. But then she did say if you are wanting a body part to be in front of the red light, since it's the superficial one, you might get closer to it. But guys, so now I've been saying, oh, you don't need a 3, just get a 2 because you can't lie down or you won't get the benefits. That was completely wrong. So I totally retract that. And now it makes me so glad that I have a 3 because I can lie down. And then sometimes I will lie down and I will put my feet up. I'll scoot toward the one of the walls and I'll put my feet up, and then the circulation, the blood comes from the feet all the way to the trunk. And I did have some questions and I want to address them even though Connie's gone. I had some questions on the question box about my particular, okay, at Jackie Kelly 315. Okay, Jamie, what specific benefits have you noticed? So the benefits that Connie mentioned, that cellular and that they are sort of the anti-aging molecular type things, I can't speak to all of that because of course that is something that you can't typically measure per session, and I don't have the scientific background to be able to speak to that. I do feel like, and I fully believe that all of those things are taking place, but they're harder to pinpoint. But there are 2 specific things that I have, number 1, seen as far as difference, and number 2, that I have felt. So I've seen a difference in one area, felt a difference in another area with my infrared experience. So it's been a year, and I will say it did not take me long at all. I began to experience all of these pretty much after I started using the sauna. But the first and the one that is the most dramatic and is the most important to me, and what I feel like is the reason that I share it with others, because I don't share anything that I don't love, believe in, or would buy again, or that I would spend money on. So the number one difference that I have noticed is the way I feel specifically in regard to my osteoarthritis. And I know many of you Insta friends struggle with osteoarthritis. If you don't, let me just tell you how it differs from rheumatoid. This is a very basic, I'm not a medical person at all. But osteoarthritis is joint pain, and there's nothing really as far as pharmaceuticals that you can do to alleviate that other than Celebrex. It's not as studied or researched or backed with medication options as is rheumatoid arthritis. And I'm sure that rheumatoid arthritis can get major benefits from an infrared, but I don't have that. I have osteo. So that was my initial search for a sauna, is because in all of the literature for alternative therapies for osteo, I kept seeing infrared sauna over and over again. And then I researched, quickly saw that Sunlighten was just the leader in the field. And I saw influencers in the health space that I listened to their podcasts, trusted their recommendation, and most, if not many, of the ones that I follow have a Sunlighten. So it was a very easy decision for me. But my osteoarthritis during my search, and what prompted it was, and I'm going to hold up my fingers for my YouTube friends. First of all, I've got some brown spots, but you can tell that I've got swollen joints, and it's in the dib and tip. It's in the joints closest to the fingernail. You can see, and you could look at me and say, oh, she's got some form of arthritis. It does not look as bad as it did, but the way it looked has never been my incentive for seeking treatment, because I'm probably going to always have fingers that look like this. I have this in my toes as well. But the pain of my osteoarthritis had become not just intermittent, it was excruciating, and it was almost all the time. And it had gotten really bad in probably between fall and winter, where it was particularly cold and I was miserable. I would go to the nail salon and do the wax. I was looking to buy, hot wax machines. I would buy mitts that would keep my fingers warm because warmth was the only thing that made it feel better. And I did take some Celebrex and all of that. But that led me to my search for the infrared. So fast forward to when I got it and started using it, it was for me probably after, and I was using it as I try to do now, 3 to 4 times a week, 30 minutes each time. After about a week, I just didn't have the pain. It wasn't like it just got less. It was just like, oh, it's not hurting anymore. And since then, and I have been very consistent with my use, it hasn't returned other than I had some little, I could feel it starting to rear its head when there was like a particularly cold week that we had in Birmingham, probably 7 months ago. And we'd been traveling. I had not been in my sauna like I consistently am. And I could start feeling it like wanting to raise its head. So I immediately said, whoo, can't have that. So I started back and then got everything under control. But that is my personal experience. And, as Connie said, you can look at studies and you can see that it has been shown in different studies to help with the inflammation that is osteoarthritis. So that was my biggest takeaway as far as how I feel. The second is something that I see and I absolutely love it. And when Connie said, yeah, I'll get in front of the red light before an event or before I go out or speak or whatever, I do the same thing. Get the 10 minutes max is all you really need for the red light. It's the most superficial, but I will get in front of the red light and then I'll finish my sauna because my red light turns off after 10 minutes if I'm doing the pain relief because 10 minutes is typically all you need of the red. But when I get out, my face, and I don't want to say flushed, but it is a glow. But it is a colorful glow. It's a pinkish, it's like not a sunburn, but it's like, oh, you've been out in the sun or you look healthy. And I love it. And it goes away, I'll shower and I'm not red all day, but it gives me color. I feel like it brightens my face. I feel like I'm very pasty and white and dull. And the red light absolutely helps that. And that's right after use. So that's something that you can see, and you can see it at per use. The other, and I did mention that my friend Dr. Joe, she told me this morning this inflammatory issue that I'm having, but she said, try the red light because that combined with some other treatments can really help stimulate some collagen and get things going. So I'm hopeful that it is going to help this other condition. I will tell you that Zane basically uses his for the relaxation and the way that it makes him feel. He loves to get in it after he's worked out, and he loves to get in it at night. It helps him sleep. It's so relaxing, and nobody can really bother you in the sauna. It's so quiet. It's like you're in a little cave, and it connects to your Bluetooth. And I stream. I'm morning. I hit the sauna first thing. I will do my catechism in a year or my Bible in a year, my worship music, or if I'm listening to something else and I've already done all that, just whatever it is you want to listen to. You can also have your phone in there. I don't like to have it in there the whole time, but you can do email. But I'm like, I really don't want to do anything that's not relaxing because this is 30 minutes of my day that I can be quiet, rest, relax, absorb all that light energy, and also listen to podcasts that I want to listen to for the day. So I will tell you that I couldn't be happier. If I had it to do all over again, I would buy the exact sauna, the exact brand. And now that I know I can lie down and get all the benefits, I would buy the exact size. I have a lot of questions because Sunlight and runs very, very good sales. They run them all throughout the year. Now, when they stop, but there'll be another one. I mean, they're just consistently running great sales where there's thousands discounted off of a particular model. I will link in my show notes to the exact model. I have the M, like the letter M, Pulse, and it has all of the light waves. It has red light, near, far, all of the lights. That's why she said if you have an Impulse, you really don't need a red light panel because you can get it in the Impulse. If you're shopping for an infrared sauna, make sure you know what that sauna has. If it has red light, make sure that it's got all the different wavelengths. Make sure that you've got everything and, compare models. So I think that is all. Let me see if there were any more questions. Oh, one more thing that it does for me that I love. I don't know if this is a disorder, but I do not perspire. I can run outside in the heat. It's annoying, so annoying. Everyone else, looks like they've really worked out, and I can do the same thing, and I do not perspire. I always perspire. I have my back gets wet. I mean, I'm not soaking, but I am sweating I guess, to the only degree that I can sweat, and I love it. I love it so much because whatever's wrong with me, where I can't sweat without the sauna, that takes care of it, and I feel so great. It's wonderful to feel, "Ooh, I'm all sweaty, let me shower." So, that's another, and I'm sure that there's benefit in sweating off whatever it is that's in there. So, okay, guys, I'll put everything in the show notes, and we'll have Connie Zach back anytime that, any of you have questions, and she's always willing to come on. So, as always, I'm grateful that you came, watched, listened, and until next time, have a fabulous rest of your day.